Hi everyone! So today is that time of month again, and no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my monthly beauty favourites. So if you want to know about all the products that I've enjoyed using and totally loving this past month, then stay tuned and keep on watching. So no messing around here, I'm going to go straight in with my favourite of the month, if you know what I mean, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. Now, unless you've been living under a rock these past few months, I'm pretty sure that you would have heard of Charlotte Tilbury's Film Star Bronze and Glow. I mean, since I got it, I've literally been using it every single day. And for me, there is no other duo that competes with this. For me, the bronzer shade doubles up well as a contour because it's not too warm in tone. I mean, a lot of the bronzers that I use, for example, Benefit Hoola, NARS Laguna and Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer, they're a little bit more on the warm side. So they make brilliant bronzers to kind of warm up your complexion and give you that kind of sun-kissed look like you've been away for a really long weekend somewhere exotic. Whereas this does actually make a good bronzer, but because it's a little bit more cool in tone, it does well to kind of mimic the shadow and give a really nice contour. But I've got to say that between the bronzer and the highlight is actually my favourite. Now, I was a little bit skeptical of this before I actually bought it because when it first came out, I actually visited the Charlotte Tilbury counter in Selfridges in London, and the makeup artist actually tried both the bronzer and the highlight on me, but I'm not sure whether it's the way that she applied it. It just came off quite, I would say quite chalky and quite stark as well. I think the highlighter is especially flattering on those with a slightly more warmer complexion, or those with a yellow or olive undertone. It just comes in the most luxurious compact. I mean, as you can see, that is just pure luxury. And obviously it's got a mirror inside, so that's really handy for, you know, touching up on the go. If you haven't tried this, I'm telling you, get yourself down to a counter and try this on. It's quite pricey. I think it's around about £50 or just under £50, but you know, save up your pocket money, or you know, ask for it as a birthday gift or something. I know I would. My next favourite comes in the form of a blending brush, and it is the 228 crease brush from Zoeva. Now, I am a massive fan of Zoeva makeup brushes. They are such great value for money. I love the Real Techniques brushes, but Zoeva has a much more bigger collection and a big variety of different types of brushes that you can't get with Real Techniques. I think this came in about, I want to say about £6-ish, and I mean, that's a complete bargain. And I think they actually do a mix of synthetic and natural hair, so depending on what your preferences are. Anyway, onto this particular brush. Now, I don't have much lid space to work with because my eyes are a bit on the smaller side. So when I'm doing any sort of eye work, I always kind of tend to opt for brushes with more of a tapered head. I think like the 217, I see a lot of people using it when they're doing crease work, and for me, I just can't get that precision if I'm using it for crease work. I need something with a much more tapered head. And brushes like this one and also the 231, which is the petite crease brush, are great because of the tapered head, and you can get up close into the crease with the tapered brush. And for me, this brush has two purposes. So it does well in applying product to the crease, but it also does well in actually blending out that product because of again, it's the way the brush is cut. So you've got a tapered head, which allows for precision, and then you've got the shorter hairs kind of all around it, and that makes for great blending. I use the MAC 217 type brushes mainly kind of after I've applied the product, just to kind of buff away any harsh edges. But for actually doing any sort of crease work, I actually prefer a brush that has a tapered head. So if you're on the lookout for a new blending brush, and in particular one that works well in the crease, definitely check out this one. The next product that I've really enjoyed using this past couple of weeks since I got it, is the Bobbi Brown Corrector, and I'm in the shade light to medium peach. I'm probably really late to the party with this. Now this was featured in one of my previous videos I just did, and it was a Collective, MAC, Liberty and Boots haul. It has always been something that has intrigued me, but I've never really felt the need to pick it up. Over the course of the last, I'd say, couple of months, I've kind of been noticing my under eye area more. The reason why I've always been hesitant in picking up the corrector is because I don't like packing on too much product under the eye area. Having fine lines, you don't want them emphasized. I already find that sometimes concealer is more than enough, and you know, if you end up putting a bit too much, it just ends up creasing and caking and looking dry, and it's just an awful mess, and at the end of it you end up drawing more attention to your under eye area. But I caved and I bought it, and I thought maybe with the right application I might be able to work with it somehow. What I tend to do is go in with like a small blending brush, and I apply the product directly on top of the dark circles, and then I kind of work to buff the product into the skin. And even after that, I take my ring finger, and I find the warmth of your finger actually helps to kind of blend the product even more. Go in with your regular concealer, and I tend to use one that's a shade lighter than my skin tones, just to kind of brighten up the under eye area, and I find the combination of the two really effective. I guess the only downside with using a corrector before applying concealer is when you're kind of short for time. You know, you can't be asked faffing around with two different products, blending it all in, making it all look seamless. In that case, I would probably end up skipping the corrector and just going straight in with my concealer. But you know, when I do have time, this I think really does make a difference underneath your concealer. The next product I'm going to mention is also another product that I picked up in my recent haul, and if you've seen that video you would have seen this product, and it's the Bourjois Healthy Balance Powder. Now I'm in the shade 53 in this, and I find that against my paler skin tone that it is the perfect shade for me. It's quite a yellow based powder, which is perfect for my skin tone because I've got a lot of yellow in my skin. If you're looking for a powder that mattifies and leaves you looking flawless but without looking too heavy, too cakey or too powdery, then you need this in your life. Now for the longest time I think I was using Matte Mineralized Skin Finish Natural and one of the Chanel powders, I can't remember what it's called. But at the moment my skin tone is really light, so those powders work better when I'm a bit tanned. So I needed a new powder to kind of work with my skin colour now, and also to help eradicate any oils that seem to peek through during the daytime, particularly down the centre of my T-zone, and this does that job perfectly. And the fact that it just makes your skin look so, I can't even describe it. It makes your skin look completely flawless. You can't actually see the powder, but you can see there's something there because it just makes your skin look really beautiful. I tend to apply this mainly down the T-zone, which is where I tend to get quite oily in the daytime, and this just does the job beautifully. The next favourite is also another Charlotte Tilbury product, and it's the colour Chameleon. Now I picked this up in the shade Amber Haze and also in the shade Dark Pearl. Charlotte Tilbury suggests using this colour for nighttime eyes and the Dark Pearl for daytime eyes for those with brown eyes. Now I've been using this loads and predominantly in the daytime because the colour is absolutely beautiful, and I totally think this is a colour that you can rock in the daytime. It's actually the shade that I'm wearing on my eyes now. It's a beautiful warm golden shade. Let me do a swatch for you so you can see. It's quite a dark gold, which I can see why she might have suggested using it at night time, but I think this is fine to wear in the daytime. And because I was running short on time today, I literally just scribbled this onto my eyelids and took a blending brush and literally buffed out the edges. If you're after a product that packs a punch but also has the longevity, then you need this pencil in your life. And she does a range of colours for different coloured eyes, so she's got a day to night time for green eyes and a day to night time for blue eyes as well. If I want to get ready in 5 minutes, then this is my eye option. It's just amazing how quick it is to apply, yet how long it lasts throughout the day as well. The next product that I've found myself reaching for a lot this past month is the MAC lip pencil in the shade Soar. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that's probably trying to get their hands on this but can't because it's out of stock. I was lucky enough to actually pick this up when I was in New York. And it's supposedly the shade that Kylie Jenner wears on her lips. I think it might be this and also Whirl. I just think this is a beautiful pinky nudie shade, and I've been wearing it under MAC Fast Play but also MAC Brave. If you like your nude lips to have a little bit more pink in them, I think this pencil does the job really well. I don't like my lips too nude. I always like a bit of pink to them, especially as my lips are quite pigmented, they're quite pink. And the moment I put nude shade on top, it can make me look a little bit dead. So I tend to look for nudes with a pinky undertone to them. But if I'm after a bit more pink to it, then I just line my lips with this underneath and then just put the lipstick on top. I think this is a great product that you can wear on its own as well. So just line and fill in your lips and you've got a really pretty matte pinky nude shade. Or if you want a bit of shine to it, you can apply a sheer layer of a clear gloss or even like a pinky tone gloss. I think a lip liner just makes your makeup a little bit more polished, and that's the reason why I've been enjoying using MAC Soar lip pencil. My next beauty favourite is a purchase enabled by Fleur de Force, and it is the First Aid Beauty Eye Duty Triple Remedy Eye Cream. It's an eye cream that comes in a tube format, but then it also has a metal head, and the product is dispensed through that little hole. So you literally squeeze the product and the product comes out, and then you kind of blend out the product with using the metal head. And because it's metal, it's really cooling on the eyes, so it's great if you suffer from puffy eyes. And what I really like about this cream is that it's got a peachy tint to it. So when you're applying it to the eyes, there is a noticeable difference if you compare one eye with product and one eye with no product. The peach kind of acts as a corrector, similar to the Bobbi Brown Corrector, in that it kind of cancels out any kind of blue or purple undertones. If you don't have time going in with the corrector and then going in with a concealer on top of that, use this as an eye cream and then go with a concealer on top of that, and the peach will help to counteract any of the bluey purple undertones under your eye. Not as well as the Bobbi Brown Corrector, because that is a bit more of a heavy duty formulation. It's really thick. I just love it mainly because it has a peachy tint to it, so it acts a bit like a two-in-one product, half concealer, half eye cream. But yeah, it's a genius product, I think. And at last, my final favourite of the month is the Urban Decay De-Slick Makeup Setting Spray. And I never really saw the point of a setting spray. I never knew what it was for. I mean, how could a liquid help keep your makeup on for longer? But somehow it does. I don't know what it is exactly in here that makes your makeup kind of stick to your face and last that much longer, but I always find when I use this after applying makeup, which is usually if I'm going out on a night out or, you know, a special occasion, I know that a spritz or 4 of this will make your makeup last literally the whole day. Not gonna lie, sometimes I do go in with 5 or 6 spritzes, only because sometimes when I'm doing the kind of T and X motion, I don't find that I catch my face in all of those motions, so I end up spraying a little bit more. But it actually does work, and I'm just baffled at how it does that. And it says it's oil control as well. Can't say I've actually noticed that it does help control oil. For me, I purely use it as a setting spray and to help make my makeup last longer. But I suppose by definition, if it does make your makeup last longer, it must be something to do with holding the oils back, because your natural oils will tend to break down the makeup. I don't know, maybe. So that's all the products that I've been loving for the past few weeks. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. It'd be cool to know what products you've been loving this past few months, because I do take a lot of product inspiration from the kind of videos that I watch on YouTube. And yeah, it'd be nice to know what other people are kind of loving at the moment. And maybe it's something that I need to be trying out too. I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye! and if you're going for a more warmer look, then soft brown is definitely the colour to go for. I also ended up picking Swiss chocolate. Now this is probably the most red I will